Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show.
It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way.
Morning.
Hello there, Paula.
Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Well, I've got a chainsaw and someone cutting the fence, the hedge outside today. So I don't know how much of that you can hear.
At the moment, nothing.
Well, that's absolutely marvellous. Thank God for directional mics, eh?
Mm.
I've got all the doors shut and I'm locked in. Luckily, it's not too hot today.
I've got quite a dull screen. Can I see the one with the picture and the time?
There you go. Horrid woody place in Norway.
Yes, I much prefer the Good Afternoon Nicola ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, Nicola from a beach is always my favourite.
Yes. Interesting, I'm reading the same message I got last week about the quality of the internet between us.
Yeah, I've got to tell you, my internet has been appalling this week. I don't understand why it fluctuates so much because it's one of those, some of the people here have got internet connected to phone lines and that seems to be really good. And then a lot of people are going for this cheaper option, which is doesn't involve a phone line at all. I don't know how this one works. Must be satellite or something. I don't know. But it's been very, very fluctuating this week. And we keep emailing the chap, sending him screenshots of our pathetic 0.5 megabyte download speed and 0.25 megabyte upload speed. And he says he's doing something, but it just hasn't improved this week. So we might have to just wait with the pauses.
Yes, I think waiting with the pauses is good, and Zoom managed to record it last week better than I dared dream.
I know. I didn't have too much pause editing out to do, so I'm very happy if it's as good this week.
Good. Now, you start and tell me about your week, because I've got 3 things to tell you this first section.
Well, I have some fairly big news, actually. We're coming to the end of our 6-month sojourn in Yvonne and Noreen's house, and I was trying to decide what to do because the weather's getting nicer here and I'm really starting to get a feel for what it would be like to live here in, sunny, warmer climes. And so I was starting to think, do I really want to go home to England yet? Obviously, I want to go home for a week or two, perhaps a bit longer in April. But where do I want to live right now? And actually, where I want to live right now is here. So we started house hunting. Sarah hasn't decided what she wants to do yet, although Elias has been dangling a job offer in front of her. Not very attractive for people like us who like to be in bed by a decent time, but for a youngster, it would be a fantastic job. It's running his real estate office, but it's split shifts, so you have to be there sort of from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, then go off to the beach or home or whatever and come back and be there sort of from 5 till 11. And he's expecting someone to do that 7 days a week, although we have told him that's completely unrealistic. And he also wants someone who's good with the internet so they can keep the website up to date. And he wants someone to revamp the website. Well, Sarah's definitely up for that bit, but not the rest of it. So we've been trying to tempt one of our girls out to fill the evening shifts. And they could have a really lovely summer sort of hanging about the beach and being pursued by the local ute. And then just sitting in the office, which is right next to the taverna. So it's a very sociable location. But no, they're not interested either. So that's been sort of main theme of the week. Elias trying to talk us into sort of helping him with that. Then we also went out for dinner. I had my first taste of wild boar, which was absolutely delicious. But the big news is we've been house hunting and we went on a very fun trek on Sunday. You'll see the video pictures soon, which involved walking up to see someone's house in near Hare, which is theoretically 45 minutes each way. And a lovely little village to boot. So I've been there before. I knew it would be a lovely, lovely walk. But you go through the olive groves and it's all uphill and it's quite a steep gradient. Even though it was only 10,500 steps there and back, I felt like I'd had a severe workout afterwards. I could barely walk the next day. And the funny thing was that the people I went out for dinner with are the next door neighbours who are lovely, and they've offered me their house to rent indefinitely. It's a lovely house, and it's got much better broadband, Judith, because he's a software tech, and so he's ensured that he's got super broadband in there, and so that'll make life a lot easier. And funny, isn't it, how things work out? Because when I came to live here years ago with Irving and the kids, we stayed in one of these 8 houses. When I came to visit with Irving before we had the kids, we stayed in one of these 8 houses. We've just spent 6 months in one of these 8 houses, a different one, and now I'm going to be moving into another one of these 8 houses.
Well, now, you were quite lumpy during that story, so I have 3 questions I need to ask you, 2 of which are related to the lumps. What is it that the man does for a living that requires him to have good broadband?
Oh, he's an incredibly successful software and systems consultant.
Marvellous. It's more steps away from Katerina's than where you are now, is that right?
No, it's about 10 to 20 less steps away.
But they're just tougher steps because they're up more.
No, the only thing that was tougher was going house hunting and looking at another house. Which was
so the one you're going to live in, that's owned by the software engineer, isn't up the hill through the olive groves.
No, it's right next door to where we are right this red.
Very good. There you go. There's the lumpiness of the recording. You see, good. Right next door, lovely. And so here's my big question, and I think I know your answer. If you're going to stay on, why would you bother to come home?
Because I want to see the kids.
Yes, I thought that was the answer. I was checking. Isn't it easier to get them to come out?
Well, the thing is, they're very wrapped up in their own lives. Nelson's very, wrapped up in his last bit of college, his final. And
I think you're going to America or somewhere as well, aren't you, when you're home?
Not sure about that one yet, but I am.
Okay.
Portugal. I'm popping home first, and I'm going to Portugal, and I might go to America. Not sure about that one yet, but it's lovely to know that this house is sitting there. They're actually building a big mansion up in the olive groves. So they own this house, and they were going to just leave it there for when people came to stay, the overspill for the house. So, they're delighted that someone's going to be living in it and looking after it. I'm delighted, obviously, because it's a lovely little house. It's all worked out rather well, funnily enough.
Yes, well, that's good, isn't it?
Yes, because I don't really feel ready to come home yet. I want to enjoy a bit more sunshine, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, what about your week?
Well, I've got 3 things to tell you about my week. I'm carrying on with Plan B, which is most unlike me. I don't really have a Plan B. I'm a Plan A kind of a woman, but my Plan B is in case I have to announce at short notice, which is half on the cards, half not. So this week I've organised my change of address to a virtual office so I can have my post digitised for the rest of my life. I will never have snail mail ever again. Now, that's very exciting to me. I don't want snail mail. I don't want stuff coming in the post. And this way, I'll never have to file it because they scan it, and then I go into the back office and have a look, and if I want, I can download it, and if I don't, I don't. So that's exciting as a not a move. Point 2, and you probably saw, well, I know you saw this on Facebook, because I'm getting I'm accidentally threatening to become quite evangelical about my low carb thing, because I'm another 13 pounds down since Christmas Day, and all I do is sit at my desk and eat. So it couldn't possibly be easier. And that's 8.5 weeks. So it's not fast. A stone in 9 or 10 weeks is not fast, but at my age, you shouldn't lose it fast anyway, because you just look like a salad. And given that I am, speeding towards being thinner than I've been since I'm 16, my third and final story is that the time has come to splurge on the skincare range that goes with my little yellow turmeric tablet. It's called True Science, and it's supposed to make you look like, soon I shall look like a 16-year-old in every possible sense.
The mind boggles.
Well, indeed, yes.
I'm delighted to hear that you're finding it so effortless, and it's the way that I prefer to eat, I've got to say.
Where I could become an evangelist, and this is for you, Irene, because I know Irene's doing the same thing, is that once my addiction to carbohydrates was gone, I realised why I'd had a problem all of my life. I come from a long line of addicts. Their drug of choice is booze. I don't drink, as you know. It's killed all of my family. Why would I do that? And but carbohydrates is exactly the same thing. The whole story of addiction is if it's booze or fags or drugs, you have to give it up, and that's fine because you don't die. If you give up food, you die. What I didn't realise was I could give up a subdivision of food, carbohydrates, still stay alive because I'm still eating, not be on the diet, but just lose weight by sitting at my desk. I mean, it's just the most miraculous thing, Nicola.
The thing one could get most angry about, if one was that way inclined, would be that we have been fed utter lies about what's healthy.
Well, you could, and I've been reading books about that for quite a long time now. My favourite one on that topic is called, hang on a minute, it's called Trick and Treat. So trick them through the foods they eat and treat them through the pharmacology, the pharmaceutical industry. So the big pharma and big food in leagues, basically, to make profits. But now, my friend Nicola, who you know, her father was recommended in the 70s to give up carbohydrates, and indeed did lose weight when he did it. And one of the people on Facebook said to me that her 102-year-old friend was told to give up carbohydrates in the 80s, and she did, and lived until she was 102. So this information has been around for quite a long time, but the low-fat, more sugar lobby has just been louder to a deafening degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it is just astonishing. I mean, you just, once you start...
Well, it is astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing. And what is mostly astonishing about it to me, and I'm in correspondence with a woman in New Zealand, I think, who can't quite understand what I'm saying and keeps asking the same question over and over and over. And I keep saying, just click on the bloody link which shows you the pictures of what's a carbohydrate, what isn't, and don't eat the ones that are, and eat the ones that aren't.
No, that's good. I'm enjoying your evangelism.
It's around never understanding that I was an addict, and as soon as I gave up my cocaine, my problem went away. That's my evangelism.
And it's very interesting for me because I'm living with someone who's doing a very hardcore vegan diet this month. Not drinking at all, not eating, just drinking water, only eating vegetables and pulses. But a lot of those, and juicing, but a lot of those vegetables would class as carbs.
Well, and the juicing, I realised that what I thought I was doing, fruit, veg and juicing, which I thought were my previous solutions, were all feeding my carbohydrate addiction.
Yeah, because sugar, lots of sugar.
Yes, absolutely. It all turns instantly.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating.
And there's so many people, you watch YouTube as one does. There are people out there sort of really going for this sort of, total veg lifestyle, raw veg lifestyle, and it gets a bit confusing. So I suppose you just have to find the thing that suits you, don't you?
You do. That's exactly it. Yes, but I think this evangelism point is that this information is out there. It's hidden in plain sight. It is more visible than ever it used to be. But what is extraordinary to me every time I write about it on Facebook is people ask me gazillions of questions about it rather than look at the resources I keep sharing. And they keep talking about falling off the wagon. And if I could just get the point across, which is through the cold turkey, there's no wagon to fall off anymore. Will I miss chips? I just stopped thinking about it like that. No, I don't think you will. The honest answer is I don't think you will miss chips or cake. No.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I hardly ever eat cake anyway. Well, we mustn't turn this into the weight.
No, the Judith evangelical. Well, although it is part of your life, and my mission now in these podcasts is to talk about the and your life. So, and I know some of our listeners are interested, but yes, sorry for my evangelism there.
No, I mean, it's totally understandable. If something works for you, you want to share it.
Well, and also, Nicola, being overweight since I was a child has dominated my life and shaped my life, pardon the pun. And so to have found a solution age 61 is, I mean, I could talk about it endlessly because, of course, it's just, I'm reinventing myself.
Yeah, which is fabulous because it couldn't have kind of come at a better time.
Well, the one cross I've had to bear, the one problem I could never solve was my weight, and here it is. I've got a solution.
Yeah, and same with me. I've been the only time I've ever been slim since I was 16 was when I did that diet where I just lived on shakes and bars for 5 months, and that was totally no carbs. So it just proves that it works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So, what's fueled your fire this week?
Well, mine's a small one, because I knew I was going to rant quite a lot in the first section, which is yesterday I did my year-end accounts, and normally I do them quite quickly, but my year-end is the 31st of August, so I don't know what took me until February to do them, but there were no surprises in them, obviously, because we've got ongoing cash flow forecast, but it's nice to see it in black and white, and particularly nice to see that the trend is upward.
That's very good. That's always good.
Yes. Yeah, that is good. And ironically, I tend to do this thing, especially with coaching, which is as my trend starts to go up again, it usually coincides with me taking a year off. It's such a funny thing. Anyway, there we go. At least I'm doing it. If I do it this time, at least I'm doing it knowing what I'm doing. But there we go. So my fire has been fueled by doing my accounts. Not just the upward trend, but actually just love doing my account, to be honest with you, because, once an accountant, always an accountant.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've just submitted my last year, and because I know exactly what's happened in the year ending 2017, I'm on top of my accountant future brother-in-law to submit my this year's accounts as quickly as possible as well, because I suspect there might be a refund in the offing because of my... the pension payout I had, they took rather a large amount of tax off of that. Yeah. So I'm hoping to get some of that back, which would be nice.
That's exactly what happened to me. I got a refund, but I had to wait. Because my birthday is April, I had to wait for a whole year before I got it.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Because your tax return goes into the 5th of April. And then I got my pension on the 27th of April with the tax deducted.
Oh, I see.
And that went into the following 6th April's tax return. And then I had to wait for them to process that and refund me. So actually about 15 months before I got that refund because of the time of year that my birthday falls. Yeah. Now, one more point on that, which is your pending brother-in-law has been pending rather a long time. Are they going to get a wiggle on and do that thing? Well, we're just going to call him your future brother-in-law forever.
He won't be bullied into it.
Yeah, I think he might still be married to his wife, isn't he?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he's got no excuse then. Right, now tell me what's fueled your fire.
Well, I stayed up rather late last night, having gone to bed quite early, because with the internet connection as bad as it is, we haven't been able to watch terrestrial telly at all. The only thing we can watch is YouTube or Netflix. And I've got to tell you, I'm quite seriously disappointed with Netflix. There is a couple of series we're following, but I'd much rather catch up on the weekend's television from good old Blighty. So I went to bed earlier in sheer disgust, and then started working through Taki Moore's $1 Million Coach program that you remember I invested in.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. He's very, very big picture. He's really good at what he does. He's very big picture. He's got total and 100% focus, and he uses lots of simple pictures, which I really like. He does quite a lot of drawing to illustrate his points, and he's using an iPad with a Apple Pen.
Yeah.
Plugged into his computer somehow so he can share his screen, and he just does literally everything's in threes as well, which I like.
I like a 3 too.
Yeah, absolutely. And entrepreneurs can't cope with more than 3, so it's just perfect. And really enjoying it. Some quite new concepts that I hadn't come across before. This is his 6 or 8 week program, which is around the. Well, I think he's going to be selling it for more, but it was around the $1,500 mark. And it's an introduction to his, it's going to be an automated thing, but it's an introduction to his top level program, which is called Black Belt. And, I'm just really enjoying it. He was delivering yesterday from a hotel bar in Honolulu, where he just arrived and his room wasn't ready. So they turned a bookcase around in reception and put him in this mysterious bar called the Library. And so he did the whole 1 hour or so presentation and Q&A with Muzak going in the background, which was highly hilarious. Everyone found most amusing. So it just goes to show that, you can coach on the go, on the move, but you do have tech issues, even the top people do.
I missed something you said again for the same reason, which was, did you tell us or not how much you think his top level program is going to be?
Oh, well, he's got people in his top level program already, and it's going to be around the $1,000 to $1,500 a month mark.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems to be the going rate for top level mastermind sort of coaching programs at the moment.
Okay. All right.
Would you like to hear about 18 proven ways to enjoy a successful location-independent business and the freedom to live wherever you like? Own It the Summit is a pack of 18 dynamite interview recordings with globally successful entrepreneurs, sharing their secrets of the real laptop lifestyle. We handpicked each of these people to interview to show you how to set yourself free to design your ideal lifestyle, whether working from home or travelling the world, while running a successful virtual business that you absolutely love. Just visit ownitthesummit.com and get your hands on these life-changing recordings today. Client challenge of the week then?
Yes.
Can it be one of mine again?
Yes, always.
Okay, I'm going to bare my soul a little bit on this one, but not too much.
Okay.
It's around the whole topic of setting goals and expectations, coping with disappointment and carrying on. Because I have had a lot of activity over the last few months and it's working. It's working slower than I would like. And I know I've got to just keep going and I've got to get momentum going and not change my mind and keep changing my mind, because we talk about that a lot, don't we? But how do you manage your clients' expectations? I mean, because if you set a goal and you don't achieve the goal, I mean, the app's a good example. It's building steadily. People are downloading it every day, but it's not set the world on fire. Neither's any of the books set the world on fire. Nothing set the world on fire, and I can't help expecting that it will, or I wouldn't do things.
All right. Yes. Can I go? Tell me when I can go.
Yeah, now.
Well, this is a perennial thing. I even wrote last week's newsletter about it. And I warned you several months ago that when you said this to me, I was going to say to you, keep on with it, Nicola, keep on with it, Nicola, keep on with it, Nicola, because I've done my 0800 call this morning with clients that phone in all around the world from 8 o'clock in the morning. And one of them brought exactly this, which she told me a story. And I've seen this happen in life so many times, and it's happened to me. She told me when she came to me, she had an old business and we talked together about her new business. And she said that in the last few weeks, she'd had income opportunities come in from her old business about a year after she was marketing them. And my view is, as you know, well, it's a sort of 3-point strategy, really, which is work out how you want to be available to the world. Allow for the fact that it will take the world a lot longer than you would like or could possibly imagine to catch on to that, and keep plugging away at it anyway, because eventually they will. Don't change anything, because then you can confuse them and they don't know what to buy. You've got some good things here now. You've got your app. You've got your membership stuff. You know, keep plugging away from those, even though they will take longer than you like to get critical momentum. Keep plugging away anyway. The time passes anyway. It's the same with my diet. It's been October, November, December, January, February, 5 months. And actually, we all know that everybody wants to lose their weight in 5 days or 5 weeks, not 5 months, not the rest of your life. And it's no different in business. Back in the olden days, when I was part of a business in the 80s that had a physical office, and the man spent quite a lot of his own money, I can't remember where he got it from, on setting up physical offices and putting in phones and photocopiers and hiring a sales team and getting it all working and blah, blah, blah. He ran out of money and he had to leave the office. And as we left the office, the phone started ringing, because that's how long it takes. I would also forget completely, forever, the idea of setting the world on fire with anything. I don't think the world wants to be set on fire. They want to see what you're offering. They want to understand what you're offering. They want to enjoy the early tasters of it at affordable levels. They want to work themselves up to working with you when they're good and ready. They don't want you to keep changing it, because then they don't know who you are or what to buy from you or when to buy from you. It's consolidation. It's consolidation and patience. Keep on keeping on. The time passes anyway.
I loved that in your newsletter when I read that, about the time passing anyway, because people don't buy things if they're not guaranteed instant results. But what they don't realise is tomorrow's going to come and the next day is going to come, and all the fact
Nicola, I can't tell you how many clients of mine have withered on the vine because they thought they had something which was an urgent need to make money. And working with me wasn't helping them make money any faster, and their money was running out, and what they were going to do. They're still alive. The time's passed anyway. They might just as well have kept on working.
I know that isn't my issue. My issue is as you know, because we've worked together before, is the disappointment factor of setting a goal and everyone.
Yeah, well, don't set yourself up for it. The thing with goals and expectations is you've achieved more by having them than you would have done without them. That's the value of goals. Because let's say we were an Olympic athlete. No. Let's say we were you and me. And well, you proved it with your steps. You know, when you were in Shoreham, you didn't do that many steps. But when you went there, you decided to do that step, and you did determined to do that step. So you've done more steps than you've ever done when you were home. Okay, that's the power of a goal or intention, which is, you know, I'm going to get fit while I'm here, and you can do more than you could before.
What I did by moving here was making the environment more conducive to achieving that desire, because it wasn't that I've actually been more disciplined in the walking. It's that I have got no choice but to.
No, well, you could have had a choice. I would have hired a car. Now, back to the more conducive environment. You're going to get that when you move next door to the better Wi-Fi.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think the Wi-Fi has been an issue at all, actually. I think it's more the fact that I'm suffering from, well, I don't want to go into my word of the week, but I watch other people doing things, and I see that they apparently have great success with launches and things, and they may, you know, they're certainly putting a good face on it, so they're not suffering from disappointment from their results, or they are putting a good face on it. I don't know, and it's just, you know, I just realise.
All right, so be a hare, be a tortoise, not a hare.
Say some more about that.
Be slow but steady and win the race. Don't accept this thing about, you know, it hasn't set the world on fire. Don't give up. It's not going to set the world on fire unless you keep on marketing it. Market. Tortoise, creep along a bit today and tomorrow and the next day and the next.
Not my traditional method of working.
Oh, to be honest.
I know. So when you're working with clients, do they set goals?
Well, a mixture. I mean, everybody's got a plan or a hope or a dream or goal or intention, whatever they call it. They're all working towards something.
You find the ones who set goals succeed
more?
Well,
I wouldn't necessarily call it a goal, but if you sit at home, you know, eating chips and smoking a fag and you don't have any plans, you're not going to go anywhere at all. If you have a plan, or if you've got something in mind and you get up and you show up and you keep working towards it, you're going to achieve more than if you hadn't.
Yeah, totally. Yes. Well, that goes without saying, doesn't it? Except we're saying.
Yeah. It sort of does. It sort of does, but it's hard because actually, if then you don't get the early results and don't set the world on fire, you're disheartened and you stop, and that's where we go wrong. So have the plan. Don't give up on the plan. I mean, there's nothing wrong with your plan. Your plan's good. You think your app and your ebooks are the right way to, get the word out. Don't change that plan. If you're sure that's right, I think you always expect too early results. I don't think we can set the world on fire in 2017 as easily as you could in 2002-03.
Yeah, no, good point. There's a lot more noise and a lot more.
Absolutely. And competition and fatigue and change and everything.
Yeah, and this is why it's so important, isn't it, to be focused about your offer and your website and everything.
Well, it's also to think that your stuff's great. So if your ebooks are great, keep reminding us your ebooks are great, and if your app's great, keep reminding us. And people will join. If you build it, they will come, but not if you build it and forget to tell us about it because we didn't come on the first night.
Yeah, no, good point. That's a very good point. And
actually, heart. You need to have heart in here, which is I love my things. I've carefully crafted them to be the best value. Best value and provide the best information and the best way of clients working with me or whatever it is. I really think I've got great shit here, and I'm going to market the knickers off it.
Market the knickers off it. I love that.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Yeah. That's it. I mean, put 3 years work into this and don't tell me it hasn't worked. Not 3 weeks or 3 months. It's going to work as long as you hang on it.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing is it's important that whenever I get discouraged, I go and run the numbers. I do a little weekly spreadsheet that tells me, how much traffic, how many opt-ins, how many sales of my blah blah blah, how many free gift giveaways. Really that does encourage, because it does make you see that you're making progress, even if
and you've got to tweak that, haven't you, until you get critical mass.
Yeah. Even if you don't, progress is not as fast as you would like.
Well, I've just written down here slower than I would like. That's the only problem here. It's slower than we all like. It's slower than any of us like.
I don't know. I suppose it's because I'm in quite a few high-level groups, mastermind kind of groups, and you see people in, James Shrampcrow's group, for example. They'll launch like fitness people will launch a membership site, and they'll get something like 150 members on the first day out of a mailing list of 500 or something. And the reason that they do so well is because they've every day built a relationship with those people, haven't they?
Yes. And are they newer at it than you?
Yes.
I think there's that, which is you've been at it a long time, you've changed your mind a lot, you've confused people a bit. That's why I'm saying now consolidate. So if you're brand new and you've got a list of 500 people who are gagging to hear from you, and you like that story that what's her name from Thailand told us, people were begging her to launch her first thing. When you've launched over and over and over, I think there's a fatigue that comes from it. So I would be bringing new people into your funnel and, digging in for victory.
Yeah,
really. I think there's a difference with the newbies. They've got a brand new, excited list of 500 people who are gagging to hear from their first offer. I think that's a completely different thing. I've been at this forever, and I'm always launching stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I like the evergreen launch process, where you put people through. That's why I love funnels so much, because A, you can track every stage of the funnel, and B, it's all largely automated, so it doesn't depend on you drumming up massive amounts of enthusiasm, because launches are, quite frankly, exhausting. We know, we've been through a few, haven't we?
I think you always used to do the work. I think two I've been through with you, and that's enough, quite frankly. Yes, I like evergreen and switched to that ages ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you did.
I think you've only got one problem. It's slower than you would like. Well, join the club, Nicola. That's where everybody is. And it's worse, that impatience is worse in 2017 than ever, because we live in a time of instant gratification. And you might as well live that message in every sense, because if any of your clients think that they're going to get results overnight, they're going to be disappointed.
Well, exactly, and managing clients' expectations.
Yeah, you might as well live that message through your own, be it, live it, and teach it, because nothing happens overnight. It happens when you've got to pack up and leave the building, the phones start ringing. Like Susan said this morning, I'm getting income from marketing I did a year ago. Yes, welcome to the real world.
In that case, clicks and leads Facebook ads to service should explode any second.
Well, your app and your new offerings, they're post-Christmas. So talk to me next January if you've solidly 17. And you won't have to wait till next January. It'll pick up slowly, and then it'll snowball.
I know the main challenge with that. I definitely feel that the way you do it is the right way, if you like, to keep this disappointment factor under control. Because when you want to launch a coaching program, you need a set number of people in it, a minimum number of people in it to make it work. Because only 20% of people ever turn up for anything. A lot of people buy it.
That's the problem for all of us. At the beginning, everything is undersubscribed, but you've got to run it anyway.
Yeah.
It feels like pushing something uphill, but you could think of it that those early people are getting phenomenal value for money, because they're getting a lot more from you than they will do when it's business.
Oh yeah, totally. Yes.
But then the early adopters fall, and the people then who join you in that hump that we all know in the middle, the rump, when they eventually pile in and it's busy, they're used to getting less of you, so they're perfectly happy with it. But the early adopters fall away. They fulfill their purpose, which is they've just got it off the ground.
Or they upgrade because they want
whatever. Yeah, but that's just a fact of life. And I don't think it's that anything is wrong with any of your offerings. I think it's that your expectations are too much, too soon, setting the world on fire. I forget about that one for a start. And we need to reframe the disappointment, because you never want to feel that. You want to feel in love with your offerings, on fire with your offerings, and that you're doing the world a great service. That's what you'd say to a client of yours. You're doing the world a great service by not keeping yourself a secret, but continuing to remind us of how great this stuff is until we opt in.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not intending to change my mind or anything. I'm not, totally not. I just have noticed, because obviously with greater self-awareness, you notice more stuff about yourself, and I've just noticed this frustration, I think, more than disappointment. Because we teach what we most need to learn, and quite a lot of these things I'm telling you today I learned from you, okay? And one of them is, now let me just think, what is one of them? What did you just say there? You said something quite important. I've forgotten. But anyway, the point is this: we teach what we most need to learn. We've got to keep on offering it. People won't buy overnight. Yeah, and the other thing I have to keep learning and reminding myself, and Taki's program did that very well last night, was that I have to keep it simple. I have this massive.
Oh, I've just remembered. You've just reminded me. Massive
challenge in that I want to
give too much. Yeah, I always say to everybody, no more than 3. Make it whatever it is. Make it 3 bullet points, whatever it is. That's it. Any more than that, they just lose the will to live. Now, I've just remembered what the thing is. You always said that the reason people jump horses is because they don't believe that's the one that's going to work.
Yes.
Well, believe this is the one that's going to work.
Oh, well, it's not. I mean, I don't buy courses thinking they're going to solve all, all my...
No, I don't mean that. I mean, you've often changed from A to B to C to D to B because it either wasn't making the results you wanted fast enough, whatever it was. Just decide this is the one that's going to work. You've got an app, you lucky thing. Yeah. You've got a membership program, you've got ebooks. You can stick to what you've started because that's a formula you understand and can make work. Yeah. Don't jump ship to something else because you're frightened this one isn't going to work. Dig in with this one because there's nothing wrong with it.
No, I'm not frightened it's not going to work because I know it will with time. I just have to manage my...
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. And we all do, not just impatience, but comparisons to other people. Why the complete newbies in James Trampo's group have only got 5 on their list, get 150 joiners on the first day? I wouldn't even go there. I think we've explained that one satisfactorily. Belief. There's a belief. It's got to be a belief that your stuff can make the difference to the people if you can just get that message across to them.
Yeah. Which leads us very neatly into word of the week. Because my word is comparisonitis.
Well, there you go. Yes, I mean, there was a lovely quote that I shared on Facebook this week about it, on comparisonitis. It's something I've never suffered from. I think I'm unique.
I've never suffered from it before, but I've got video comparisonitis. I've got video production comparisonitis. Because I was watching, obviously Dan Knowlton and his brother Lloyd are just doing some amazing work, really, really amazing work with video. And I saw Shah Usman doing a live broadcast this morning. She's been doing live broadcasts leading up to the launch of her something she's doing tomorrow. And I don't know what it is. Whether it's I don't think I like what I look like on video. I think I'm not groomed enough looking for me, and that's really interesting because I've never felt the need to be particularly well groomed or anything. But this whole not wearing makeup and just having a suntan and no mascara is not. It's making me feel that I look more amateur than the other people who are better groomed. But then you said video production comparisonitis, as though their quality of their video was better produced. But now you're saying it's mascara. Yeah, I don't think it's the actual production in the end. I think it's the the locations and the groove.
You know what you'd say? Test it.
What test?
You'd say test it. Yeah, bang on the mascara, see what happens.
Well, me, like Karen Skidmore, doesn't wear makeup anymore.
Yeah, no, me neither. Never done, as you know.
Perhaps one should just move to video, audio completely.
Well, I think whatever we do, it's interesting you should say video production and then backtrack, because whatever we do, we've got to do it to the best of our ability, otherwise it's not worth doing.
Yes, but equally, one shouldn't do it. One shouldn't not do it because one can't do it as well as people who've got a whole team and a production studio.
No, but if you do it, you'll get better at it, won't you?
Yeah.
So go for the highest production values you can achieve. I definitely think that would make a difference to me watching video. And what I can't bear is the amateur ones that go on too long. A short professional one is much better to me. In fact, I'm going to try to show you a 1 minute long example this week of something she and I did easily. Did have high production values, but she and I short, and the content was awesome.
Right. Well, I hope everyone else. I hope that was recorded properly because I like you said, lumpy for me. That. And what was your word of the week then?
Before I go there, I'm just going to say one more thing about that. No, I've forgotten what it was now. Interestingly, because I didn't know what challenge of the week was going to be, I have picked, and my word is fortitude, because I've seen a client this week who I've been working with for quite a long time, and the poor sausage has had more illness, more accidents, more family goings on, and more delays than you could shake a stick at. But she still managed to produce a while back a good quality ebook. But more importantly, this week she's finally published a video course. That woman has pushed through more balancing, and I congratulated on her fortitude. And then I had to Google the word fortitude to make sure I picked the right word. I had, just well, it's on theme. It's our theme of the day, which is, it takes longer than you want to push through anyway.
It takes longer, more determination, more strength, more keeping on. But
yeah,
the prize has to be remembered, which is,
it does. It does.
Big prize at the end of this.
Yes, absolutely. A prize worth having and a prize we want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so project updates then.
Yes, anything for us?
Well, we've had a little flurry of extra sign-ups on Push Crew.
Oh.
We got 41 subscribers now.
Oh, we were 52 last week.
Oh, did we? Have we gone down?
Yes, but that's okay. Because we're understanding how Push Crew works better now, aren't we?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've still got 28 being delivered. So is that okay?
Yeah.
Libsyn is steady, very steady. Let me just show you Libsyn. We had that massive spike on the 31st of January, but we've got steadiness in the meantime, and
a gently upward trend there.
Always encouraged by a gently upward.
Well, interesting, gently upward. That's what I said about my accounts. That's all you're looking for in your new thing, gently upward, and then you're just got to keep on.
It does flow with the thing, because that spike is something that couldn't have been planned or predicted. A goal.
No, I agree.
Yeah, so that was a random spike, a bit like a launch that may or may not work.
And actually, we can only see gently upward if we look over 3 months. If we look over shorter periods, we look at a vein, wouldn't we? So you've got to look at that. That exactly proves the point, doesn't it? Look at it over a long enough period.
Yeah, even the 1 year trend is gently upwards.
It's gently upwards. Yes, gently upwards.
What we need is one of our listeners to introduce our podcast to someone who's got a large listenership themselves. And then they'll fall in love with it, and they'll download it every week and share it every week, and then that'll be that.
Okay.
That'll set the world on fire.
No, we're not trying to set the world on fire. What we're trying to do, it's just a nice. That's a nice goal or expectation or plan or dream, or wouldn't it be wonderful?
Yes, absolutely. And I did try and look at the analytics, but as you can see, I got a completely blank screen.
Yes.
Don't know what's happening there at all. Okay, so who or what's impressed?
You go first.
I haven't really got anyone, I'm afraid.
Oh, can we go? Well, that good. Can we go back to the thing where I can see the time?
Yes, absolutely.
I vaguely managed the time of these sessions.
I got distracted horribly while I was doing this, obviously, because it's blank.
Okay, well, I'll tell you mine. Mine's quite long and rambling, and I think you're going to like it. And it's not so much that I've been impressed in a good way as impressed in a bad way, actually.
Oh.
And you know that every self-development workshop or program or book we've ever been to or read holds up Ray Kroc as an example to us all of somebody who was the very living manifestation of persistence.
Just
Remember Ray Kroc from McDonald's?
yeah, he exactly. But do enlighten everyone.
Well, I'm going to go on because there's a film out this week called The Founder, and the true story is awful, actually. The true story is that he was a salesman of ice cream making machines that could make 5 at once. He stumbled across the McDonald brothers in California, Dick and Mac, who had planned out with chalk on the floor in the playground using their staff the optimum way to lay out their McDonald's restaurant so that it could be served in the 1950s in 15 seconds. And when Ray Kroc came to the window, he didn't know what to do. He said, where's the cutlery? Where's the napkins? Where are the plates? What do I do? What do I do while I'm waiting for my dinner? Well, you don't have to wait for your dinner. Here it is, bang. You go sit over in your car, roll that bench there, and eat it out of the bag. And he saw the potential of this business. And the McDonald brothers, Dick and Mac, had already tried franchising and discovered that they couldn't, as the two of them, manage it because quality control slipped if the two of them weren't there. So they hadn't got an E-Myth, how we do it here manual going at that point. But basically this man, Ray Kroc, stole the business from under their noses. He cheated them out of squillions, and then he finally put them out of business in their beloved home store. And if he were sitting next to me, I would be stabbing with a blunt instrument, a sharp instrument, and bang him over the head with a blunt one. I mean, not a nice man at all. I nearly chose as my word of the week, scruples. He was totally unscrupulous. Now, Dick and Mac were a bit annoying because they mainly said no to his growth plans because they conflicted with their values. So, for instance, it was cheaper to make the milkshakes out of horrid powdered gunk. And the McDonald brothers insisted that they were made out of nice, healthy, ice creamy, whole, milky, natural products. So they said no to that. And of course, what happened there was you've got the franchise wizard who saw the potential of their business and was looking at things that we might easily look at, like, cutting corners and cutting. I totally could see both. The brothers allowed them business for $1 million each because they just wanted to buy this man out of their lives. And one of them had already been hospitalised with the stress of it by then. And so they ended up with $1 million each, which was quite a lot of money in those days. But Ray Kroc agreed that he would pay them a percentage of turnover profits in perpetuity, on which he never delivered once.
Really?
And that alone would have been worth their estate. And the business is called their name. Eventually, Ray opened another McDonald's in their own hometown and put them out of business in their own store.
Oh my God!
What a horrid, horrid, horrid man!
I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't live with myself.
Well, you must watch the film because the film's very worth watching. Because actually, not everybody would take the same view as me. Rachel Elmore and I have been having a discussion about it on Facebook. She loved it. She does agree. They didn't invite this man into their lives. He turned up to sell them a milkshake machine, and then he bullied his way into their lives. And they come across as, you and I've been in business together. It's awful when somebody else blocks your idea because they don't think it's a good idea. But endlessly, they blocked his ideas for growth. And in the end, he just ripped them off and cheated them out of the game because he just couldn't bear their blockages anymore. But their values were completely different. Oh, and in the middle of this, he dumped his nice wife and ran off with a floozy. But just wasn't a nice man, which no scruples. And I do think it's possible to have been as successful as he was and as McDonald's was without really always off.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you never hear those details when you hear the story.
No, you don't. You don't. And of course, we don't know that this film is the truth either, but it's worth watching to look at the other viewpoint. Sorry, you were saying.
I was going to say, how can they not have been paid their money? Would they not go?
Well, because by that stage of the movie, we were all on to him. Yeah. So he said his backers when it came to the final deal, where he gave enough money to clear £1 million tax-free each, which sounds like a lot, but is nothing compared to what he then promised them. He promised them something outside the contract, and all of us could see by then that he was going to cheat them. But they were just so beaten down with his bullying and so desperate to be out of a business relationship with him that they just went along with it. He said he couldn't get the backing. He would pay them a percentage, a tiny percentage, like 1% of turnover profits, which is nothing in perpetuity, but he couldn't put it in the contract. He had to do it on a handshake basis. Well, he didn't even start to pay them that in month 1 or 2 or 6 and stop. He never paid a single instalment on that.
Oh, my God. And just for the benefit of our listeners, always agree a deal like that on turnover or gross profit rather than net profit.
Well, I mean, and the other interesting thing is, of course, with McDonald's, I don't think it matters, to be honest with you, because, you know, the margin is tiny, but because the ingredients are so cheap. But at the icing on the cake, not then to do away, then to, you know, bully them out of business in their own hometown where they started and they were much loved, is like rubbing their noses in it, which completely wasn't necessary. I mean, you could give them a 50-mile radius in California to keep doing their lovely old-fashioned restaurant, which everybody loved.
Yeah, no, that is very sad. I don't know if I can go and see it now, having heard. I don't like it.
Well, I mean, that's just my take on it. I honestly, I mean, you know, my brother might say you're being sentimental, Jude. You know, look at McDonald's. Look at at the end of the film, you sit in the dark and you see all of these facts and figures go up, including the one about doing them out of business in their own hometown in their flagship store and not paying them on the profits. And but you see, what do you see? I forgot what I was going to say now. You don't know that you could go and see it. Oh yes, but McDonald's feeds 1% of the world's population every day.
Yeah, amazing. So
and the facts and figures of it are amazing, and it needs to be seen as a lesson in how not to do business.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas we do have out here an example, as I didn't have anyone who impressed me, an example of a man who is selling houses to people who bring out bags of cash, give them to him, and he then builds their houses out of that cash. You know, there is serious trust thing going on here, and he was telling us the other day, Elias is, and he was telling us the other day about someone who came and got him to build them a house because he looked after their daughter when she stood on I think she cut her foot on a stone or something, and he looked after her daughter, and they turned up 22 years later with the daughter, all grown up with her own daughter, and said, "We want you to build us a house, Alice," because you were
there you go. And that reminds me of something else about Ray Kroc. I don't know what it was now.
But just on that topic, even he is not universally liked by everybody. You know, there are people in the village who won't speak to him, and there are people in the village who think.
Well, yes. I mean, I think the point of your story was excellent, which is, you know, that impression has lasted for 20 years and does you good. Oh, I know. You know, the other exciting thing about the McDonald's business model is he worked out quite quickly, because it was about the real estate the franchises were sitting on. That's where he makes his real money.
Yeah.
But even that wasn't his idea. Somebody else came to him with that idea, and then they worked together for a bit until Ray Kroc did something unbearable, and that man as well. I mean, honestly, what a horrid man.
Well, everyone hates Bill Gates for that, doesn't he? Because they think that he ripped off.
Well, you see, I quite like Bill Gates, although he does look like my granny in photographs these days, I think.
Well, go and have a look into his background, because I think you'll find that he's so cool.
Well, I think that's the thing. If you're a successful businessman, or woman, you'll find stories out there where people didn't see it the same way as you. And the truth, this is only one version of the truth, and the true truth is somewhere in the middle, isn't it? But it's interesting, because all I really knew about Ray Kroc was McDonald's and this thing about persistence. And then I thought, well, have I confused him with Colonel Sanders? He knocked on 101 doors before somebody bought his Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe. But yeah, I think if you're already, dear listener, if you're already uncomfortable with certain financial elements of business, I don't recommend going to see this film, because I think it'll make you more averse to being successful in your own than ever before. However, as I say to all of my clients, just borrow the best bits of other people's, not the worst bits.
Yes, absolutely. And it is possible, as Elias proves, to make a very positive impression and be trusted. And
yes, and even Ray Kroc had a fantastic energy. Nothing would stop him. He used to listen to these, self-improvement records, as you did in those days. Even as a traveling salesman, he took his record player and his self-development
record player
at night about persistence. Unfortunately, at one point, he crossed over behaving like a nasty man in my worldview.
It's a fine line, Judith. Fine
It is a fine line. It's just I know that.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you very much for my impromptu coaching session. And
No problem. See you next week, darling.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.